Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If you just joined us, remember this is day number three of a full 5-day week of HR Week 2021. And when I say a full HR week, I mean a full HR week was pretty much literally every single day we jump into a different theme, we unpack that theme, and we walk away with ideas, insights, and lots of food for thought to take us forward. So remember, first of all, it was all about strategic HR. Then on Tuesday, we went to people-centric HR. Wednesday today is digital HR. Tomorrow, I believe, is HR development. And we finished the week on a high with the C-level day. So lots still to look forward to today and all the week as well. But right now, it's all about performance management and looking more closely at new perspectives. Again, we all have our own ideas and own kind of judgment on that already, but now is the time to maybe again shake things up and see things from perhaps a new perspective. We're going to jump into a healthy panel discussion to unpack this and find out maybe new perspectives that we can actually use and are relevant for us and our company as well. So I'd like to warmly welcome to the stage the moderator who's going to shape this discussion, certainly in the right way. Please welcome to the stage HR People Operations Team Manager at TCP Software, Miljana Šundić. Miljana, are you there?
I am. Thank you for the kind introduction, Peter.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
I look at you and I look towards on your right, on my left, on our left, that beautiful blue sky. Where are you? Tell us. Is it the Caribbean? Is it Australia? Where are you right now?
I wish. I'm at my office, Business Garden, Belgrade.
Right, in Belgrade. So am I. And it is beautiful outside. I just can't see the sun right now, but you can. And we see you, we see the sun, and we're intrigued to hear what you have to say. I'm going to leave it up to you now to take over. Towards the end, questions from our audience members, from our listeners, so they get involved as well. But right now, I'll leave it up to you to take over.
Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the panel discussion about new perspectives in performance management. I will start by briefly introducing our panelists today. So first, Tatjana Keković. She's HR Director at Erste Bank Montenegro. Her initial love was actually math and computer science, but then she actually discovered HR. So Tatjana is also a very proud mom of 4 kids. So welcome, Tatjana.
Thank you, Miljana.
Next, we have Miloš Miljanić. Miloš is currently leading HR and communication team in Mad Hat Games. So that is a Serbian gaming company. Together with his team, he covers complete employee experience, and he covers topics such as employer branding, recruitment, talent management, and many more. Welcome, Miloš.
Hey, glad to be here.
Next, we have Nataša Jelovcan. She's working as a director for HR administration, recruiting, and employee development at Mercator. Welcome, Nataša.
Hello to everyone. It's nice to be with you.
Okay, and finally, I'm representing TCP Software, an IT company from Texas, and I currently work there as HR and People Operations Manager. So let's get started. Today, we will explore performance practices across different industries, and we will also explore how performance is evolving and changing. Without further ado, we will jump into questions. The first one is actually, how does performance management look right now across different industries? So let's start with Tatjana.
Thank you, Miljana. Hello to everybody. And I'm so happy to be here in this great company. And I believe that we will exchange experience and our opinions, and that we will all learn from each other. So I'm coming from the banking industry. Erste Bank Montenegro is part of the Erste Group in Austria, and we have members all over the Europe. Member banks, and we do have our performance management system, which is, let's say, the same everywhere. the process is the same. We use the same platform, but there are differences and adjustments from country to country. It is based on, let's say, a traditional, the bases are and the foundation are traditional. We do have a system which starts with 1 year planning with KPIs and goals, and we do have an assessment which is obligatory to be once or twice a year, but there are some modifications during these years that made this performance management system more flexible, and we adjusted it actually to the market and to the employee and managers' needs. So it is not just, let's say, an event that happens once or twice a year. It's so flexible, so you can enter goals and KPIs which are short-term, based on projects, based on some tasks that needs to be done. So it allows you to do assessment even more times throughout the year. And also what it allows us is to talk to each other and give feedback, because actually the performance management system is heavily dependent on the feedback and on the conversation between employees and managers and colleagues. It gives you a possibility to give a feedback or ask a feedback through this platform. It starts from the top down, and it starts with the company goals, but then it goes down, and from, let's say, these great pictures, it goes down, and we actually ask for our inputs from our employees. So all the KPIs and goals needs to be agreed between employees and managers. It's not just this is your goal, you have to do this. It has to be agreed. And after a period, we ask for an employee to give a self-assessment before talking to a manager. We want first to hear what is his self-assessment. Beside this big platform which everybody is using, what we do is also 360 degrees feedback and assessments for the management. We also do for the top management a career committee, where not only your superior or your direct superior is evaluating you, that other colleagues and other, let's say, management board is also evaluating managers. So it has some let's say, traditional foundation, but we adjust it throughout the time, and also the composition of the KPIs and the goals are not very much the same as it was before. A lot of them are based on qualitative criteria, on some surveys, studies, feedback that we receive, team organizational unit KPIs, team KPIs, and then only a small portion which is like an individual KPI. And also it has competencies, and many KPIs are based on development of competencies and not just reaching some goal or doing some task. But not to take too much time, I'm so excited to hear what the others colleagues are having in their companies.
Thank you, Tatiana. Milos, please go ahead.
Okay, so in Mechagens, we have an iterative approach towards many processes, and performance management included. So when we were creating our performance management process, we first want to be aware of our current capabilities of our managers and if they could deliver the performance management process as such, because we previously had a flat organizational structure and we moved into more traditional teams with every employee having its own lead or a people manager. So we went step by step, implementing one thing at a time over now already a 3-year-old plan. And at the same time, we were aware that performance management and learning development were our priorities in our HR agenda. So also I was really lucky to have two great professionals by my side, Maria and Stanka, whose main focus was actually creating the performance management process and providing it to the teams. So at the moment, what we have is a yearly performance management cycle, which happens in February, March each year. In between those, we have a regular one-to-one meetings, which are mandatory every 2 months, but you can do it more often if you wish. And we have also implemented 360 feedback, which is being collected a few weeks before we kick off the performance management cycle. And if we talk about something that maybe it's different than in other companies, is that we implemented something we call life portfolio. So just to bring our employee profile a bit closer. So we're not a strictly IT company. We're kind of a mix between creative company with a lot of designers, artists, etc. on one side, and programmers and development teams on the other side. So it's kind of a mix of a marketing agency and a software development company. And what we implemented is something we call Life Portfolio. So it's something that, since always when you do performance management, you kind of focus on the last few months. And we wanted to bridge that gap. And we created kind of a diary, which every employee has to fill with what he or she did in the previous period. And it kind of builds up during the year. So it's really a helpful tool when you do the yearly process or when you prepare for one-to-one meetings. So you have kind of a self-awareness of what's going on. So when we're talking the content side of performance management, we use something that we call scoreboard. So it's basically a form which is split into two areas. One area is expertise. The second area is mindset. So basically, the expertise is linked to a job description. So it's really job specific for each position. We take a look at that person's job description and we evaluate those things. We don't use KPIs as such as at this moment as strict yearly goals, but rather, for example, on an example of a recruiter, we will split it into a few categories, such as candidate sourcing. How does the recruiter find and approach candidates? Candidate assessment. How does the recruiter assess, test, and interview candidates? And some additional areas such as salary negotiation, managing hiring managers, etc. So in that area, we evaluate how does someone do his job. On the second side, on the mindset, we kind of evaluate soft skills. So it's basically these areas are not job specific. They're the same on a company level for every employee, and they're strictly tied to our company values. So we're evaluating how does someone communicate and collaborate with other teams, how they're proactive, how they show initiative, etc. So those two together, which weight differently, they create a complete employee performance score. And additionally, when the manager finishes his or her feedback, we go through calibration meetings. So basically in those meetings with a wider management population, we go through the feedbacks and we just want to make sure that all of the scores are objective and balanced on a company-wide level.
Okay, thank you, Milos. That sounds very interesting. Natasha, please share more about your background.
In Mercator in Slovenia, we are a large company. We are the largest employer in Slovenia, so we are a little bit different than IT companies or maybe bank, like Tatiana said. Currently, right now, we are introducing into Mercator two large systems. They are new for us. That's partly first is performance management for our managers. We are using the Mercer bonus systems. We are in the final phase of introducing it into Mercator. It will include 270 hour managers. Mercer bonus system includes company goals, so we can track our together goals and individual goals of every manager in the company. And the second important process that is in implementation right now is talent management process, where we will also track individual goals of our key employees. That process will include 380 employees. We are right now in the first step. We are introducing talent management to the board -1 level. Next year in January, we continue to the next step of all employees. What was our experience this year? That a large effect on performance and employee engagement had our launch of renewed employer brand campaign in May. The campaign included 4 activities. And because, like I said, we are large, we are retailer, we have 500 stores all over the Slovenia. It was always a big challenge for us how to include everyone to participate. And this year, with the launch of that campaign, we were very proud because over 90% of all employees were included. They were connected, they participate in that activities. And we saw, based on the feedbacks, that engagement is better, motivation is higher. So we saw that employees needed that kind of project, activities that can they participate, include them together. An important input for us on which points to build performance management in next period is also the results of a survey of employee satisfaction, which was done in September. The results highlighted some key points on which we have to pay more attention in the next period. And of course, now on the HR and key managers in Mercator is the next important step to prepare the measures how to be better in the next year survey when we'll do it. So a lot of challenges, but I think that we can find the path and go toward success if we step together.
Okay, thank you, Natasha. So the next roundtable question is around what is changing and how are performance management practices evolving. So what is your next plan around the processes that you mentioned? If you could share more, it would be great. We can start with Natasha now.
I think that for everyone, it's clear that pandemic COVID-19 left an impact on all areas of business, including in the HR field. It forced us all to adapt to constant and rapidly changes every day. It was hard on the beginning, but I think that we learned by now that if we are patient, everything is possible. Of course, the impact of COVID-19 was also seen in the activities that I mentioned earlier, on the setting goals, implementing talent management, implementing development management for our employees. We all know that performance management is usually known as a very rigid system, a system where an employee and his superior sat down once a year, maybe twice, or even quarterly in some companies. They sat down, talk about goals, usually write down SMART goals so that they can appraise it later. And usually they forgot about this process until the next step come around and they have to appraise how successful they were. And I think what's the main change that COVID showed us, that even performance management and approach how to set goals will need to be more agile. We will have to learn how to set goals that can be changed quickly, that can be changed, on monthly basis, and they will still remain focused and relevant to the situation in which we are, and still drive the employees to their higher performance management. Maybe what was new for us and what was shown during the COVID situation, we saw that new important part of performance management is becoming well-being of our employees, because COVID situation pushed the health and safety of our employees on the first priority list, and well-being of employees is something on what HR field will have to put more attention in the future.
Okay, Tatiana, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I can agree with Natasha what she said, that really this new situation did change some way of thinking and did change some way of operating, at least in our industries. Maybe for Milos it was already there before the COVID, these flexible working hours and the way of working. But for our industry, it definitely changed. But when I think about future of the performance management system, I actually think what gives me a headache and what is the pain that I have to deal when I think about performance management. And what bothers me the most is that I know that we cannot communicate strategy, and God knows where we'll end up if we do not have goals and KPIs, because you don't know where you are going. But on the on the other way, the KPIs and goals and the measures and constant measures do have some benefits, but I think in some way maybe it even become a barrier for maybe some innovation or some potential that can be shown, because when you give people tasks and goals, they will go toward these goals. God knows if we don't have them, what we will maybe end up doing, maybe even better than what we are expecting. So I think that in some way it should be changed, that it does give employee directions, and it does give you where we want to be and what we want to achieve and the purpose why we are here, but also to give employee autonomy to do their work on the way that they think should be done the best, and maybe some potential then will be, let's say, unleashed, or we will see some potential that we didn't see so far. That's the one thing which there need to be a balance. So how to do it, I don't know. If I know, maybe we will have something like that, but that's what I'm thinking. And the other thing is that I think that we need to move from the thinking that to perform. I still think that performance management system in many companies are perceived and linked to the bonuses and rewarding and salaries and advancement. Of course, there should be, but still it's not perceived like a development tool. For me, it's much more development tool than it is, just something that we pick up and use it for calculation of bonus or salary. It takes time until it gets into the phase that everybody understands it is a development tool and that we can use it as such.
Thank you,
Okay,
Tatiana.
yeah.
Okay, Milos,
Yeah, great point, Tatiana. Actually, when we're looking at what's happening in the HR industry, we were seeing that the performance management is evolving, and there's a lot of new features coming in. But also, what I think is really important to focus on the employee experience, because I don't think anybody really enjoys the performance management. Say, okay, we're gonna have this meeting, and everybody's, yes, I cannot wait to receive a lot of feedback. So I think the processes are changing towards more having a really great experience towards employees and how they actually have benefits from it. And yeah, we're actually, everybody's using performance management for usually 3 reasons. It's a hire, reward, and fire. Actually, the assessment of people. And actually, we're doing it in Medhit Games at the moment. We're really trying to mix those two, the development part and the performance part, because we're actually now building the personal development plans. And actually, it's not part of performance management. It's something that we create in order for person to develop, so his performance will be better in the future. So I think the future is really how to mix those two, and for employee, because if you talk about employee, here's what you're going to learn, and here's how you're going to be a better professional. Yeah, everybody's going to look forward to that meeting. But measuring your results, even if your results are great, it's still a stressful conversation. And I think the future of the processes is how to make that experience a really great one.
Yeah, so how do we do that? We oftentimes hear how performance management is the most dreaded HR process by everyone involved, basically. So how do we make it more engaging and more exciting for everyone involved? Do you have some ideas there? Natasha, we can start with you.
You are muted, Natasha.
Pardon, I'm sorry. I think that the key lies in communication, in good and transparent and constant communications with our employees. I think that the most what HR managers and leaders can do is empower our employees with enough information, because no matter what kind of change or implementation of process are you going, you have to invite your employees to follow you. And they can follow you only if they have enough information. If they know why, what's in it for me, and why this will be good for me and my company. And if they have enough information, they will follow you on your path to the goal that you set as a company, and they will help you to succeed that plan that you set. So I think that's, by my opinion, the right way, how to engage them to follow you.
Okay, Tatiana?
Well, what we did is actually that first we are asking them to set up their goals and KPIs and development plans, and then they talk with the manager. And why we do it? Because we want them so they feel that that's coming from them, even although there is clearly a path and there is clearly a goal. But if you talk with them, then, and if you make an agreement, then they feel that their goals is theirs. It's not just what managers said they need to do. Also, we do have, as a part of a performance management system, they need to have a development plan. It's not just KPIs and numbers, and they have to have qualitative goals, not just quantitative and things like that. What is important there, that they really feel that it's their goals, and we tell them focus. We always tell employees and managers focus on their strengths, because in the past we were focusing what they were not doing so well. So let's try to develop that, and you can develop that up to that. To some point, some things can be developed, but why not even change it? Why, if you are doing something great, do it more? Why, you are great there, and that's fine. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this, which is not so great. Why don't we talk more about great things? And these are not so great. Okay, we will deal with them. But if you are good at something, why you should not excel in that, So these are what we are, and we have constantly every year education on performance management system. And maybe it's so boring and everything, but people like to come and talk with us. What is the performance development system? What it has to do with you as employee? That is not just a management tool for scoring you or testing you or measuring you. So I think, like Natasha says, the communication, the constant communication is very, very important.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely a two-way street. So if both from the company side and from the employee side. So yeah, company needs to communicate the goals, and the employee needs to understand, like, what are we trying to achieve? Like, it's a long road. What are we trying to hit at the end of the road, and what are we trying to achieve? And to get maybe a wider picture, and how does your small input into the bigger picture. And when people understand that, I think they have a more of a vision and seeing what they need to achieve. And on the other side, I think employees really need to be included in how are they achieving that. So it's not really, this is what you have to do, but rather talking like, how do you think your role can help in this? How much do you think you can achieve? Because if you set your own goals and say, I can make 30 of these, you kind of have more of a commitment for it, because you give the assessment of it. And I think we're usually scared that people are going to give lower goals than the company is, and I think it's not really true. I mean, you have to just you can challenge and even put it lower and higher. It depends really, but if a manager together with his employee works on the goals and they agree, okay, this is achievable, and it's always a stretch goal, but it's achievable stretch goal. I think it's much easier than just saying like, hey, this is your goal, and this is what you have to do, and sticking a carrot, old methods.
Thank you, Milos. Okay, so what is the best piece of advice or wisdom about managing performance that you could share with our audience?
Well, I would like to give maybe a few tips. First thing is, not only for performance management, but basically for all HR processes, is that don't do HR for HR. So like, we're not doing the HR processes, so we will come and talk on HR Week about it. It's we're really making it for our organization. So understand and work with your target audience and your managers and your people. So we're not conducting performance management so that we assess the performance of every employee. Like in my company, we have 130 people. So it's not a big company, but still we cannot manage to evaluate every employee individually, but rather make a framework and provide support and education and partnership to your managers so they can do it themselves. Because nobody knows their job better than the managers who are subject matter experts in that area. So that's one of the big things. Don't do HR for HR, do HR for your organization and your people. Second thing is iterate and learn from your mistakes. Like, be open for changes, be open for feedback, be ready and be okay with that you maybe made some mistake and that something can be done better. Don't let the scale of the process and the whole project slow you down, because if you want to make a perfect project with everything inside, it's going to take years, and you're going to say we're not going to be ready to launch it before it's perfect, and it will slow you down. And be ready to adapt. Like we're doing when we were implementing performance management in Mad Higgins, we were saying, okay, this is the 10 things we want to implement, and we cannot implement it now. So let's pick up a few areas. Let's do regular meetings. Let's add PDPs, personal development plans later. Let's add KPIs later. Let's add calibration. Let's add things by things and make it bigger in time. And maybe one simple advice is don't do it during vacation days. So if you're making a yearly calendar of activities, don't put them in winter season, December, January, when everybody's ready for a New Year's Eve and to go for a holiday, or during the summer when everybody's going for a summer vacation. Because when we're talking about yearly cycles, and usually the performance management is linked to budgets, and budgets are being done in December for the next year. So really choose when is the best time to have both managers' times and HR time to do the process.
Thank you, Milos. Tatiana?
Well, it's hard now after Milos to say something, because he really nailed it. It was great. When I was thinking about this subject, I also put for me notes like the owners of the process are employees and managers and everybody. It's not an HR process. We are helping, we are facilitating, but it's not an HR process. Also, change, adapt. It's you cannot get it from the first. It takes time to come to a point where it gives all the results or the expectation that you want it from it. Start with small and then build on it, like Milos says. And for me, I think one of the conditions for a good performance management system, and many other things in the company, I think it's the culture of giving feedback. And the communication. I think that's what you need to also work, because you can put the system, you can put the process, but if you do not have this culture of people communicating, giving feedback, not just maybe micromanaging or criticizing or but we should teach them what is feedback and how it should be done. So I think these are like the conditions for the good performance management system. And if you are not ready, don't start, because then start like Milos says, start with small and have some points, have some small results, so people buy in the process, and then you build on it. Then start with something which people from the beginning don't buy in, and then you are never back on track.
Thank you for that. Natasha?
Maybe 2 tips from my side, because Milos and Tatiana already say some good tips and wisdoms about how to improve your performance management. But like I said before, become more agile. First, become more agile as HR expert to help your managers how to adopt that more flexible approach to goal settings. Of course, they will need our support because this will be a big change for them. We will have to support them, help them through that change, that they will understand and adopt that new system. Like Miller said, don't be afraid to do some mistakes, because if you are agile and you follow agile concepts, you usually test and learn on your own mistakes. You correct and you try again, and you will succeed. And again, the second tip, like I said earlier, communication is the key. Don't only communicate in the circle of board or your top management. Communicate with your employees. Invite them to that change that you are planning to implement, so that they will follow you.
Thank you, Natasha. I see Peter is here. I guess we have some questions.
You guessed right, absolutely. We've got quite a few questions coming through. They're coming through right now. Just bear with me as they come through onto my screen so I can ask you those questions. Quite a lot of engagement as well that has happened throughout this session. They're coming through very shortly. So I can't see them on the screen, but they are there. We have got quite a few. Bear with me.
I can see some. Maybe I can.
Can you? Because I can't. That's it.
Yeah.
Listen, let's do it this way. I can't see them. Miliana or Tatiana, read out the question and then answer the question. You don't need me at all.
So we have one question for Milos. Do you use a specific tool and which, or plain Excel sheets in your system?
Yeah, well, actually, now at the moment, we're going through a process of selecting a vendor for performance management. Previously, we didn't really use some big software. We kind of used a mix of our project management. So something like Trello, Jira, but a nice version of it. And it's basically a tool which we use for tracking tasks, and we were using it for performance management as well. So we did use Excel sheets, and we're not happy with it. It's especially it's a big workload on the part of the HR team who has to check them and fill them and everything. So yeah, we're moving towards using a dedicated software for performance management now.
Okay, we have a question from Maya. Often we face a problem of employees' expectations to get everything regarding their development from HR and company. What could be done to help them own it? Do we have a volunteer?
Well, it's also like it takes time for people to get what the development is, and it's not just training or attending conferences or something like that. But what could be a help is when you are making a development plan, you are not just making it like this is the area that needs to be developed. We should work on exactly what can be done by which method. Is it mentoring? Is it coaching? Is it learning from your colleagues? Is it reading some material, attending the conference? So it should be all communicated with employee and put in that development set plan. So it's you know what to do. It's not just that you are waiting for somebody to send you on a training. So.
Thank you. We have one question for Natasha as well. How did you motivate all employees to participate in employer branding campaign that you mentioned?
Maybe just one example. What were one of 4 activities in our campaign? We prepared activity that was called Neighborly Challenge. We divided all our units into 285 pairs. And each of them get the task to surprise the other unit. And it was like snowing ball. When the first team prepared something for their pair, the teams joined, and at the end, almost every pair joined and prepared something. It was like they were singing to the other unit. They were baking biscuits, cakes, painting pictures. They were dancing Jerusalema. I don't know. It was like snowing ball. At the beginning, 1, maybe 2. We were sharing everything on our platform, MiMercator, so that they can see what is going on. And I don't know, maybe the example of other units, invite them to that. So yeah, it was quite a nice story.
Miliana, we're just gonna wrap up now. So maybe a few last words from you, just to wrap up this session.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I would just like to thank everyone who participated in this panel today, and thank you to the audience for all the questions we got. So hope it was informative for most of us.
I'm sure it certainly was. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, again, those of you that have been listening in, again, even if you're watching this on demand, if you want to reach out to any of our panelists, Natasha, Milos, Tatiana, even Miliana as well, and start a conversation of your own, I'm sure they'll be very happy over on LinkedIn to connect up with you. But all that leads me now to say is thank you so much, everybody, all the panelists and our host as well, for your expert ideas and also your time as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Right, we move on very shortly. What we're going to do now, again, it's that time of the day where we kind of shift away from the comments and the perspective of our speakers and move that over to you as attendees sharing your perspective, because now we have the networking session. You'll see a button clearly on your platform. You click that button and then you choose one of the three different sessions. Each of those sessions has a moderator, has a host, who will lead that discussion forward. And then we'd like you to naturally share your opinion, your perspective, get involved with that a little bit more, and then take that forward. Remember, after that is a nice half an hour or so for you to, again, at your own leisure, at your own pace, to maybe walk through the HR Expo Zone, have a look at some of the vendors, some of the organizations, see what's on offer as well, and maybe reach out to them, book a meeting, and take those conversations forward as well. In the meantime, I'll be meeting you back on the main stage at 12 for more HR Week 2021.